Even though its white rice tastes like regular rice and contains exactly the same number of calories and carbohydrates as the rice you're probably avoiding right now, there is a particular variety of rice that hardly raises your blood sugar and barely touches your insulin. You've probably written rice off completely as this blood sugar explosion that you can't touch if you care about your metabolism, so I know it sounds absurd. However, it is the problem. The rice was never truly the issue. The type of starch it contains is the issue. Additionally, a Japanese strain has been specially bred to address that issue. The rice that doesn't spike blood sugar, RD43, is its scientific name. Furthermore, its ability to slow down your glucose isn't what makes it unique. Instead, a significant portion of its starch is just not broken down into sugar or a high glycemic carbohydrate. And what excites me the most is that, if you truly understand how it works, you can actually construct conventional white rice that you already have in your cupboard to behave virtually exactly the same way. I'm going to demonstrate why, while having the same metabolic state, two similar bowls of rice can have completely different effects on your body. After discussing the methods, we will discuss the human data pertaining to those who actually switched to it. Alright, we'll start by discussing the reasons why not all carbohydrates are created equal. We'll discuss the starch architecture, which explains everything. I've already discussed this in past videos on this channel, but this one will go into greater detail. We'll discuss RD43 and the mechanism that distinguishes it. Then there are human experiments, one of which involves pre-diabetic individuals, and the results are startling and really intriguing. Finally, we'll discuss how to engineer your own rice at home to reap some of the same advantages as this RD43. The final section is particularly intriguing, since it lets you elevate a basic, inexpensive rice. Why is starch structure more important than carb count? Because the liver is involved in this in a lot of ways, isn't that right? We must examine the liver's response to glucose, but we must rethink everything. The same amount, calories, and carbohydrates might be found in two bowls of rice. One causes a significant insulin response and raises blood sugar, whereas the other hardly moves the needle. Furthermore, the quantity of carbohydrates isn't the true difference. It is actually the starch's molecular structure. Alright? Additionally, how your digestive system is resistant, how that structure is constructed, and how it alters during cooking. Correct? To put it simply, there are three forms of starch depending on how your body processes it. Starch that digests quickly. This breaks down quickly and causes these abrupt glucose spikes, which are typical of processed carbohydrates like white rice and spread. We have starch that digests slowly. This is also broken down, albeit more slowly. Then there is resistant starch, which we have already discussed on this channel. Alright, intriguing. Goes entirely undigested through your small intestine. It makes its way to your colon. Your gut bacteria ferment it. It's very awesome stuff. In many ways, it adds relatively little glucose to your blood. And since this RD43 is a special kind of thing, it becomes really intriguing, don't you think? Therefore, the structure of the starch determines whether type, hybrid, or blend you get. Alright? Factors include the amount of amylose it contains, how it was cooked, whether it was chilled, how long it was left out, and whether it's not fringe stuff. We've seen the literature here, and we'll discuss this particular variety of Japanese rice in a moment. However, a large HOW RD43 was made ANAMP. Its mechanism review that compiled 25 randomized trials discovered that these structural factors, such as starch structures, produced significant reductions in post-meal glucose and insulin compared to other carb structures. Therefore, even when you are looking at the same type of food, it makes a big difference. Therefore, a true quantifiable lever on blood sugar is the structure of your rice and starch. When you grow rice to have these real structural features, you get RD43. What is this entire rice then? This is RD43. This was created through an intriguing process of crossbreeding. It's not genetic engineering. They used the traditional method of crossing two types of rice. The breeding objective was quite precise. Develop a rice with a starch architecture that yields a significantly lower glycemic response than regular jasmine rice without compromising the rice's pleasant texture or subtle scent. When it comes to the mechanisms, RD43 was bred to have a greater amylose content, and, more significantly, it develops what is known as a V-type crystalline structure. a fancy phrase for essentially a molecular formation in which the amylose wraps itself in a helix around fatty acid chains. Your digestive enzymes simply can't get to it effectively since it's like solidified around a crystal structure. Therefore, while RD43 has this characteristic, regular jasmine rice does not. The starch is preventing itself from being converted to sugar. Now, that's more significant than merely slowing things down like we would with a lower glycemic food, since RD43 wasn't just changing rapid starch into slow starch when they examined glucose release. Instead, it was changing quickly digested starch into starch that is completely indigestible in the small intestine. When you consider that, reducing a spike still gives you the whole glucose load in the end, so it's a greater concern. It's simply dispersed. All you're doing is altering the glucose trip. A portion of those carbohydrates never convert into blood sugar when they become starch resistant. This RD43 was unaffected by cooking. Alright, that's what makes it so special. They cooked muffins with RD43 flour, and the benefits persisted. Therefore, it's not merely a resistant starch issue or some sort of fragile lab effect. This is continuing as if it were genuine preparation. Therefore, if you are metabolically healthy, this is one thing you can do. If not, I do not advise aggressively matching a carb with a fat. However, when you combine rice with a small amount of olive oil, the amylose wraps around the fatty acids to create a V-shaped structure. However, if you gain too much fat, it will not be able to handle it. In other words, we're talking about a bowl of rice with perhaps half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of olive oil, just enough to enable the formation of that V-shaped crystal. Therefore, boiling rice with a small amount of coconut oil or olive oil provides the starch with the lipid substrate to create more of these protective complexes. In addition, it somewhat enhances its flavor. Thus, you add the oil to the water while cooking the rice. Alright, so the processes are fine, but it becomes truly believable when we witness what happens in real individuals. A food and diabetes effects function trial is underway. For 12 weeks, 34 pre-diabetic individuals substituted RD43 for their regular rice at 2 meals a day. The RD43 group's fasting glucose, fasting insulin, and HbA1c all significantly decreased by the end, but their HOMIR, or direct assessment of insulin resistance, did not. They shed pounds as well. They most likely shed visceral fat since they decreased weight and their waist circumference. Here's what's actually fascinating. In fact, the fat loss data indicated that the improvement was caused by the reduction in starch rather than by eating less. In other words, the rice was working. Alright, so the second research kind of caught me off guard. Clinical therapeutics was the field. In this instance, 96 women with gestational diabetes, a dangerous condition similar to diabetes during pregnancy, were included. They divided them into 2 groups at random, one for RD43 and the other for normal jasmine-like rice. They counted the number of individuals who finally required insulin injections because their blood sugar was not being controlled by their diet. 23% of the jasmine group required insulin, 6% in the RD43 group. One rice change can reduce the need for insulin therapy by 73%. But it gets much more bizarre. After switching to RD43, nearly all of the women in the jasmine rice group, 10 out of 11, who reached the threshold for requiring insulin were able to avoid it. I'm not saying that if you have diabetes or are pregnant, you should get on the bandwagon and do this, but it's probably not a bad idea to at least change your rice. However, you frequently have to find RD43 in a certain kind of Asian store. In fact, I've previously encountered RD43 flour. It's actually baking flour, and you can purchase it in Asian supermarkets. However, unless you're in Asia, it's difficult to find plain rice. Really? In actuality, though, you can slightly design your standard white rice to behave more like this by using how to make resistant starch rice at home. Since you're not genetically modifying or crossbreeding the rice, you might not be able to get it to reach RD43 status, but you can employ those starch structural levers from what's known as retrogras. It's a technical term for the process of cooking and then cooling starch. You know what I've discussed on this channel? The starch further reorganizes into a resistant form. In a way, you are producing RD43 rice in your own kitchen. Although it isn't as strong, it is undoubtedly effective. For instance, researchers created 3 variations of regular white rice. They used freshly prepared food, cooked food that was cooled to room temperature, and food that was cooked, chilled, and then reheated. The amount of resistant starch in the chilled and reheated version was almost 2.5 times that of fresh rice. Additionally, it resulted in noticeably reduced insulin and glucose responses. You can significantly reduce the influence of glucose by cooking your rice, refrigerating it overnight, and then reheating it the following day. What if you used RD43 rice instead? It would resemble non-existent glucose spikes. This entire process is improved by 2 details. The refrigerator is the finest to start. Alright, put it in the fridge. Instead of merely cooling it on the table, you will create more resilient starch. Second, before putting it in the refrigerator, you can still add a small amount of olive or coconut oil. This implies that you are simultaneously stacking 2, or more accurately, 3 mechanisms. Alright? Thus, the cooling is retrograded, and the addition of fat causes crystal-like V structures to develop. I take it that you are receiving both protective layers in one bowl? A small amount of vinegar or lemon juice can also be added to the mixture. The rice tastes nice, and the vinegar's acetic acid slows down the enzymes that break down the remaining starch. Thus, on top of everything else, you have a massive stack. Regular greatest store-bought alternative aged basmati rice is the closest mainstream option if you're searching for the greatest rice available. It can generate comparable complexes because of its high amylose concentration. It has a far reduced glycemic impact, especially if you cook it until it's almost al dente. Thus, it still has a slight chewy texture. In summary, if we know how starch is arranged, we don't need to be afraid of rice. It has never been solely about the carbs. That's what I've said for years. It has to do with the architecture of starch. It has to do with the load. It has to do with the increase. Additionally, you have control over certain things. Rice that has been bred to perform better using actual human data is called RD43. I have no association with any RD43 brand, but you have to travel to an Asian market to purchase it, or you might have to look it up online. It's the same rice, but your body reacts to it quite differently. And that is just amazing. You might want to watch this video if you want to learn more about insulin resistance and perhaps hear what I would do if I were told I had insulin resistance today. Things were different for me when I was insulin resistant 13 years ago. I may now approach things differently, and this video helps to shed some light on that. Watch that video here, and I'll see you in the next one.